Redman is in the building, of course. Jersey's finest, all about them bars, marijuana smoker. Hey, PSA announcement. I need everybody go support. That's right, support my fucking state, my city. Heritage Hip Hop, a New Jersey media source that celebrates New Jersey hip hop worldwide. Facts. And we are celebrating our legends right here, Jersey, baby. Please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on social media. That is Heritage Hip Hop on social media. Jersey, you know I love you. Jersey, you know we got bars and we got music and we got legends all day. And if you believe in Jersey and you love Jersey like I do, support that Heritage Hip Hop on all social media platforms. This is Redman and I approve this message.
Yo, welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, where we introduce you to your future favorite artists today while celebrating the foundation of what we call hip hop. If you like what you're seeing tonight, I ask that you please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on all social media, heritagehiphop.com, YouTube, wherever you're watching this. Also, if you want to donate, hit that Cash App because we want to stay live for y'all. This one, hit that Cash App because Heritage Hip Hop is a platform built upon celebrating you and our hip hop culture. And I got some shameless plugs tonight, but I don't want to focus on me too much. Yes, subscribe, share, and all that. But make sure you drop comments because tonight, remember, when we do the rapid fire questions, your questions in the comments will be asked live on the show. And today I have somebody who rhymes not from the hustler's perspective, but from the life perspective. The person who will let you know the hustle is not what you get, but the hustle is what you establish. And real rhymers, real MCs, real people who give a damn about hip hop culture, not only rhyme for the joy of the art, but they rhyme to the commitment of seeing the world change. And today I have a provocateur of lyrics that tells you not only about his life, but the trials and tribulations of existing and becoming. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to AceWonda. What's going on, fam?
Yo, peace, my brother. Thanks for having me.
It's an honor and a pleasure because one thing I know we share when it comes to hip hop, everybody has a story.
Mm.
And if you make good music, people want to hear your story. So let's start from the beginning. Not where you're from. Let's start from the beginning. How did you know hip hop was right for you?
The feeling.
Mhm.
It's a feeling. It's like you ever see a child, or it could be a child or anyone of any age, when food just feels good, they whole body language changes. They might do a little dance or something like that. They smile. Like when food hits you, the same thing happens when hip hop. When your body's consumed with hip hop and you absorb it, everything around just kind of fell into place. And so when you interact with hip hop and then you leave and you have that moment of I want to say relief or fulfillment, that's when you know something was right with you internally.
See, music does that because let's come out of hip hop for a minute before hip hop was coined. Let's talk about expression. One of the most slept on artists in modern music that has made some of the deepest music is Bill Withers. Now, Bill Withers has a song called Grandma's Hands. And anybody who knows something about hands, hands are used to comfort. Hands are used to defend and attack. Hands are used to take, and hands are used to give. What does hands mean to you when you think about how hip hop is given or how hip hop is taken from your life?
I think hands, to me, I first think of this as togetherness, as unity. So I'm thinking of hands joining people and bringing people together, being stronger together, and connecting people, throughout the world through music and hip hop.
And that's very key because in America, especially America, divisive sentiment is always given to people. You're black, you're white. You're poor, you're rich. You're dumb, you're smart. You're a have or a have not. And hip hop has made people put down a lot of those crutches that we call prejudices, and it has brought people together under the unity of the beat. Talk about your roots and how you've taken that hand and combined it with where you've been in life and where you're going, and how music has made this transition seamless.
Um, I guess music it shows a connection between growth. So I can use music to, I guess, speak on like my adolescence and things that I used to experience, when I was running around, let's say my teenage years, finding puberty, trying to find myself in adulthood. And then let's step it up to when you then are technically an adult, 18, um, and now you're living life as an adult. And what you were doing back then, you can connect the gaps, connect the dots, and fill those gaps. And so I I use music to just kind of fill in the void. If I'm speaking from a perspective, let's say you have a piece of work of mine where I was younger and I'm talking about something like early on in my life, a recent project, I've reached back and actually connected the dots. I've had parts where I'm talking about things from elementary school, high school, to our college, to where father, and it just really is a glue, is a glue. So that's what I use it for. I use the lyrics to actually glue different pieces of my life together.
Yo, shout out to everybody checking us out on Instagram, the Mad Rapper, my man, the Hello Effect Podcast. Shout out to Damian Crosby. Everybody out there that's watching us, shout out to 973 Neek, Rock King, my boy from Milwaukee. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. Shout out to everybody on Facebook that's checking us out. Make sure
No
you join
doubt.
us on YouTube because I want those comments so we can ask this MC some questions. Now, I'm going to take everything you said and now we're going to go backwards and then move forward in time. Hip hop
Okay.
is a feeling. Hip hop is unity. It's taking you from teenage years to adulthood. Hip hop has done all this from you, but it started from a foundation. What's your foundation? Where are you originally from? And how did that help your understanding of hip hop grow geographically?
Originally from Orange, New Jersey. So that's up North Jersey, Essex County. But mainly grew up and raised in South Brunswick, New Jersey, which is Middlesex County. Um, Early on, my first introduction was listening to my older brother and all the hip hop, he would bring in, and I would go down where he was staying in the house and just listen and vibe out to his tapes. I couldn't get too much exposure, but I would get a chance to listen to things, and then that's still when my first getting my feet wet, just listening. I was taken to it and I was really connecting to certain things and I liked it. I really enjoyed it. And so fast forward now living that was Orange. Now still in elementary school, um I got a set of turntables. One of my boys, my best friends, he moved from Queens to Jersey. Shout out Broadway. We was in the same class and we just both were some hip hop kids. He's from Queens, I'm still from Jersey, and we started talking about hip hop. My man had turntables, and I was stuck on turntables. Like it's like somebody, your man got this video game, and you want that video game. I needed turntables then. And my mom blessed me with some turntables. Like everyone was like, "Yo, what'd you get?" The Technic. Now it was no Techniques. I got the starter, the low. Said the let's say the frugal friendly Gemini's. You know what I'm saying? That I was able to get hit off with. But that started my journey. That started me actually um, taking the train or the bus up to New Brunswick, New Jersey, going to the vinyl stores. I'm grabbing doubles at each one. Trying to do what I saw other DJs at the time do. You're buying doubles. I'm trying to do blends. That really upgraded my level of infatuation and love for hip hop. And then, into middle school, I transitioned into writing lyrics, and the rest was kind of history. It kind of took uh, a back seat as far as DJing and realized I enjoy writing music, rhyming, and that's kind of where I stayed at.
Yeah, we're gonna do some history for y'all if y'all don't understand. He's talking about Orange, New Jersey. So I'll ask you some questions. You a Park Ave baby? You a Valley baby? Where you was at?
Nah, I was on Berryman Place. And that's probably like a few blocks. I'm thinking from Main Street, but this is young days. This is like
Okay.
second grade. You know what I'm saying? And then I was up in a year in Virginia, right outside of Richmond. I lived in Mechanicsville for a year.
All right.
Parents was going through some things. They got back together, and next thing you know, we was back in New Jersey, in South Brunswick. And South Brunswick was almost the next decade, until I came to the DMV, and that's a whole nother chapter we can get into.
So you was around Orange when the pet store, Woolworth, and all that was on Main Street. But
Man,
people used to
listen,
go to Main Street.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Now, if anybody doesn't know, back then, hip hop wasn't real big in Orange at that time. So when you got hip hop at that time, it was people coming from that tape store that was up the street by the pizza where the pizzeria is now, or it was people from North who would come up and they would do ciphers on the strip on Main Street. Okay, this is Park Ave, early Park Ave days, where people go down to East Orange and rhyme. All right.
Yeah.
So remember, so this is transplant hip hop history right now. You're talking about late 80s, early 90s, late 80s,
late 80s.
Yeah.
So just to piggyback off that real quick,
Mhm.
I was getting that because my father's born and raised in Newark, and then my brother's older than me, and he was actually living in East Orange, and so I was getting those flavors. That's why it's funny you said Orange wasn't that heavy. I was a little, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, like first, second grade anyway. What do I know? 6, 7 years old. But at the same time, I'm having those influences from being around cousins and, you know what I'm saying, my brother going to school in East Orange and everything, having that heavy influence in the household with me. So that's a little bit of, a little bit more take on that.
I wanted to paint that picture because this is going to be a time capsule show because they're going to see this years to come. And ladies and gentlemen, what you know of New Jersey is now, it definitely wasn't that in the 80s. So when people tell me where they're from, I like to paint that picture because right now, like people go to South Orange. On your time era that you're talking about, South Orange was heavily Jewish. You didn't see black folks around it. There was no movie theater. And when you think about Orange, downtown Newark, Elizabeth, and Irvington had the main streets. So that's where people would kind of congregate when they did their shopping.
Yes, sir.
But in Orange, music wasn't the main thing out there. You might see a street preacher or two, but you didn't really see the social climate big then until it got big on Center Street. Shout out to the Kwashi family. Yeah, we know about a little bit of this stuff, right? And then when you got treated to the Essex County flavor of hip hop, when you went to Middlesex County, it was totally different. Do you remember that vibe out there when it came to hip hop when you was learning it?
I could tell you that. Well, see, Middlesex County, you got your different pockets.
Yes, you do.
So I'm specifically in South Brunswick.
Mm-hmm.
And where I moved to in South Brunswick, it was a melting pot of all type of flavors. I mean, and when I say melting pot, I moved into a neighborhood called Royal Oaks. So if you're from Jersey, you off Route 1, Royal Oaks was the apartments. And literally just about everyone I knew had migrated from like an inner city. So my best friends were from like Philly, Brooklyn, just different urban parts. It was almost nobody was born in South Brunswick. Their parents kind of just got out of whatever situation they was at and found South Brunswick because it was on the rise. It was coming up. It was supposed to be having good schools, and that's what you wanted. So we kind of all found ourselves in South Brunswick. And yeah, man, that's those days, I remember, that's when Onyx was on the rise and Wu was first hitting. And, I knew brothers that was from New York that they knew about Wu-Tang before it even hit New Jersey. They had the early tapes and they was like, y'all gonna catch on to this in the next couple months and stuff. But just being exposed to all different angles, from the tri-state area was pretty tough.
That's what we call the Street Fighter era. When you would go to the corner pizza store, play Street Fighter 2, you know what I'm saying? And all your boys used to come there and used to bring their radios. See, the reason why I wanted to highlight that is because in doing my history of you, you were really grounded in the rise of hip hop through your own personal development as a man going into boyhood.
Mm.
And that's very rare because most times nowadays people just are hip hop. It's everywhere. But you represent that generation that came right after hip hop was born because you got to soak up everything from an older brother to it being brand new to the old shit factor. What is this? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
that's
and
true.
that's what makes how you rhyme and how you make your music so genuine and it's philosophic because it's like it wasn't I do this because I can just do it. You do it because you had to learn it and you were groomed through it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
I want to ask you a question before we go to your next roots. What advantage do you think a person has that's groomed in hip hop rather than a person who just does hip hop because it's the norm today?
Groomed in hip hop versus advantage because it's the norm today. Well, I'll say this: it matters if the person groomed in hip hop cares about hip hop.
Talk about it.
So let's say a child is the son of MC such and such, and father been through hip hop legend, but the son really doesn't have a passion for it. He could be groomed in it and really, I guess, somewhat of the culture, but not care to carry on the culture, be a student of the game. So he just exists. People might know him, but he's still not of it. You understand what I'm saying? And so for a person that's actually of the culture, groomed in hip hop, and an actual student of the game, I mean, the knowledge and the skill set they have is immeasurable. I take it to where, let me quick metaphor. It's like being the son of let's say MJ, who is the best basketball player, anyway, in my opinion, but doesn't care about basketball whatsoever. But then you have someone that's, you see, like Carmelo's son or one of these other great sons that you've seen him with their father on the court. He's at the middle school games, high school games. They're groomed on a different level. Now they're groomed because they're being set up. So I say that to say this: someone that's groomed of the culture, that cares about the culture and wants to be an active participant in the culture, is on a different level than somebody that's nowadays just trying to do it because it's just the thing to do because it's trendy. They have their heart beats different too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the saying where you eat, sleep, ish. You know what I'm saying? Something like they have a different affinity for it. It's deeper than rap. You know what I'm saying with them. So they're gonna move different. Their music is gonna connect different. Some people do hit. You know what I'm saying? What they call it, lightning in a bottle. Or you could hit a homer where I just started rapping 6 months ago and they got a hit that goes viral. It happens, but more or less, more times than not, you'll probably see someone that's actually studied the game, cares about the game. And when I say the game of hip hop, the culture, I think their longevity and their sustainability will be at a higher value than someone that just kind of caught a viral moment or is just doing it because it's trendy. Listeners will probably be able to see through that, and I would think connect more with the person groomed from it with a care for it.
So then tell me
Hey, my bad if I get long-winded with this.
Nah, that was
You know
cool.
what I'm saying?
But you eloquently put that because you were groomed in it. So your appreciation of it was new to your life. And the most important thing about hip hop is when you turn into a teenager to that young 20s era, that's when you start finding your identity, not only in life, but you prune your life tree to find what it is that you like and what you want to be a part of your life. And you said kind of sparingly about moving to the DMV. So that transition, because hip hop culture in New Jersey is different from music culture in Maryland and the DMV area, Virginia, DC. How did that the transfer of life affect you? Like, talk about that.
That was major. That was a challenging time, man. And we could speak on different elements of it. Just simply imagine I'm born and raised in Jersey. I'm 17 years old, and then my senior year in high school, me messing around, getting myself in trouble. Mom's is like, we out of here. We moving to Maryland. My aunt was living in Maryland. My uncle was living in Maryland at the time. They all grew up with us in the same crib in Jersey. They, through life, transitioned out to Maryland. So next thing you know, my mom is like, that's where we going. So now we in Maryland. And the transition was tough, man. I was, young, thought I knew it all, was a knucklehead, and I was just closed. I was like, man, I didn't care. I had a bunch of boys in Jersey. I cared to make no new friends. I just wanted to do my year and try to figure out what I was going to do with my life and go to college and figure it out. I always planned on going to college, and that's luckily what I was able to do. That's what I did. But that was my outlook going in. When it came to hip hop, and man, I was the outsider. You know what I'm saying? Like, conversations were cool with friends that I got to make and got to know, but my style of hip hop wasn't appreciated. Let's say like this, only by like a select few. And I say that to where that's when Cash Money was running hip hop. And so when I get into high school and I'm talking to everyone, if you didn't tell them Juvie or BG, you know what I'm saying, was the man, like you wasn't winning no conversation. I found a select few that appreciated maybe up top East Coast hip hop. But other than that, it is what it is. And that's just on the hip hop scene. But I know because you're a student of this. DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, they got the go-go culture. That's a whole different side of, hip hop or music whatsoever. So you got your folks that they don't even care about none of that rap. It's about go-go. So I'll leave it there and see where you want to take it.
Perfectly, because DMV music is a clash of dance, rhythm, and not words. Come on, think about it. The first big song from DC in American sound waves was The Butt. You know what I'm saying? That was EU. You're doing the butt. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And then if you fast forward from School Days, shout out to Spike Lee.
Shout out School Days.
You had DJ Flex, Get in the Water.
Let me clear my throat.
But see, that was considered hip hop to them. Because that was go-go with somebody speaking over it.
There was a certain elements that overlapped.
Exactly. So, KRS-One is doing a series right now where he was just on B Reels or Dr. Green Thumb show, and he was finding out who was the Cool Herc of the West Coast. And us, we have the story of Cool Herc. There's a big thing about who started hip-hop. I don't care. But there's a big thing about who's the Cool Herc in his story here.
Right.
Every state has that entrance of what hip hop is to them. And for you to bring up the Cash Money era means that hip hop was so big and mainstream then that the culture clash was lyricism, style, and substance. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
So then here's my question for you. You're a person who was transplanted and you have your own idea what hip hop is and you're coming into your manhood. How did you break free from being who you were, fitting in, and establishing who you wanted to be? Shout out to Heritage Hip Hop with the questions.
Yeah, okay. So I guess the first thing that came to mind was just acceptance, man. Letting go who I was and the willingness to want to learn more and get out of my little I guess pocket. My thing was, I can't think of the word for it, but the bubble that I was in. I knew other things. I wanted to now look and appreciate different things. And so I wasn't accepting my type of hip hop as the greatest. I now was in conversations to where, let me try to figure out why you think that. And then hearing some of these brothers talk, I could agree with it. It's just, it's not so much a thing where it's like, okay, agree to disagree, but really breaking down some things. Cause I had some dope friends that were, saying in Maryland in high school when I first came out here, transitioned right into college, that man, put me on to so much different music, especially the South, because up top, I ain't listening to nothing down South. Coming to Maryland introduced me to the whole different, Southern hip hop. And then I was on the West Coast hip hop, because again, Snoop was big and that whole takeover, but that started my whole journey into the exploration of other hip hop. So it allowed me to just be more open to learning, saying maybe, what I was thinking wasn't the, alpha and omega everything, the all be all, I guess. And so yeah, I think it just allowed me to just be open to learn different things within the culture.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just got to the Let's Build portion of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast, where the guest says something so unique that we got to stand on his word. So we're going to talk about being exposed to different music. Because check this out. Music today, even though there's the internet, is suffering horribly because we have a lack of regionality. I think that the internet is a double-edged sword where it can cut loose the strings of people being heard, but it can also cut the freedom of being able to explore, because now there's too much. And when you had television, shout out to Video Music Box, Rap City, Pump It Up, and all those other programs, BET, whatever. Yeah. The box. Well, no, the box was label driven. I don't want to talk about the box. That was bought by the labels. But when you have those TV shows, you're forced to sit down and listen to music from other areas. A young lady said this to me on Twitter in a chat. She said, the television exposes you to different music while the internet keeps you in a bubble. You're imprisoned within your own channel, station, playlist, and now you're in their prison. You're in a bubble. You are confined. Where hip hop was supposed to expose you to freedom and music. Let me ask you about the philosophical prison of hip hop. Do you think being exposed to music makes a person, dumb question, a better artist, or does being exposed to different music help an artist know what's out there to make their own sound potentially better for themselves?
I think it actually depends. And you have to figure out who you are as an artist and what advances your craft. And I'll tell you why. I used to pride myself on being up on all the music that was out. I mean, I was just consuming music at the highest levels. Like if it was new, I needed to know about it. I would just stay online. I would just be streaming, downloading music, just trying to, listen to music and find out who's hot. Just because I would love talking to my boys about this artist, or you heard this, or to bragging rights. I heard this before you. I bet you ain't hear this. Just talking, to my fellas. And so I think from one standpoint, you have to, if you're an artist, you have to stay current and be knowledgeable of kind of what's going on within the climate of hip hop if you're going to throw yourself to be engrossed in it. Here's where the double-edged sword, where me personally, I took a step back and I closed myself off from listening to other people when I've been creating, and I get into my own, let's say it's album mode, and I know I'm about to write. I listen to no one. I don't want any influence. I don't want to hear the latest, be in group chats. My boys will be sending, yo, you heard this, the new link. I don't click on it. It might go like a couple months before I might actually, listen to something. Now I'm listening to different music, but I'm just not listening to hip hop. I'm listening to maybe like some R&B, some 80s stuff. Some 80s stuff that I'm listening to. But as far as music, I like to kind of control what I'm consuming, so it doesn't. There we go. So it doesn't influence me in any way. I don't want to have anyone listening to be like, yo, he got that from such and such, or that sounds like such and such. Now, mind you, that happens anyway. You could never have heard, Joe Schmo and wind up having the same track, not same track, but the same cadence or the same concept. Someone might tie it and swear that you got it from there. You honestly, wholeheartedly never even heard that song, never even heard of the artist. People always can try to tie things together. But I found out for me personally, that's when I create my best, is when I just zone and tunnel vision. I tune everything out, and I'm just at one with the music that I'm creating to. Meaning, I'm sitting down with a batch of beats or instrumentals that I know I'm about to write to, and I'm just, building on different concepts of songs. So again, I tie that all around to where it depends on the individual, how they use knowledge of self, how they use the music, if they use it to build, you know, advance their career or their craft because they need to know what's going on elsewhere, or someone that's just trying to be the best within themselves and zone in internally.
I like that. In the Bible, it says there's three heavens: the Most High's heaven, the sky, and the elation of the mind. Flip side, there's three prisons: a place that makes you sit down, captivity of the body, and captivity of the mind.
Mm.
Is hip hop imprisoned because the regions have been destroyed, in your opinion?
So part of me wants to say, yeah. I see. I feel a certain type of way agreeing and saying hip hop's in prison. You know what I'm saying? But I would say yes to it because I always had a kind of gripe with the internet just consolidating everything to this one world. When I say the one world, the internet world, the world wide web, to where the sense of individuality has lessened. And I'll say this. So back in the day, when you say regions, right, you can tell and appreciate someone uh being from somewhere else just based off their slang, right? You'd be like, they weren't from around here. What, you heard how we said that? Or they talk, where he's from. They say that over there. You know what I'm saying? Like hip hop will be broken out. You can tell artists from the West Coast, Philly. You know what I'm saying? Like they even different terms that all meant the same thing. It'd be five different words. You could tell someone else from Brooklyn, Philly, Jersey, all within the East Coast, but different pockets in the East Coast, just how they said uh or was regarding some type of word. Now all that's gone, man. You hear one thing dropped online and instantly everyone used the slang word, and it just kills the individuality obviously so much. Because I'm a person on words, terminology, and lyrics, and so that's one thing I always hated. It's like, I hear people from out here or anywhere, say you're talking like a Chicago person, but the drill scene has such a heavy influence on hip hop over the last, whatever take it had that, they got New York drill and all this stuff, but originally Chicago, but then they start now using different terms of, the street terms. And so, man, it's a prison. It's in prison to that point. I say it's a lack of individuality for sure.
I will say this though. If you look at what hip hop has been, New York controlled the audio, California controlled the visual, the South and the Midwest was fighting for identity. RZA just said in an interview that if it wasn't for New York or Wu-Tang shooting itself in the foot, New York probably would have still had a identity in hip hop because they were grounded. But the South actually saved the soul of hip hop because when the audio and the visual was getting taken over, we needed honesty to come. And that's what gives Outkast, Goody Mob, Ludacris, T.I., Jeezy, Scarface, Rick. That's what opened the doors for them. Even the Midwest, we already have Bone Thugs, but to see Shauna, Twista, and Kanye come out, it was refreshing because while people were fighting for the ears and the eyes of the nation, the soul was getting saved. Being
Like
now,
you said, it refreshing.
exactly, and being now that the soul is now under attack with the eyes and the ears being consumed. How do we free hip hop, in your opinion, so that we can get it out of prison and back to the expression that God made it to be?
That's a great question. You be coming with them. More honesty, man. That's really the only way. More honesty. Stop chasing trends. Um, Stop trying to copy something that you think or you saw work for this person, and you really just kind of go out on a limb and a leap of faith and do what speaks to your heart. Talking for artists, that are creating this art for people to consume, enjoy, and be entertained by. Because what do they say? Imitation is the highest form of flattery. It's cool, but if you got everyone just imitating each other, what does it look like? It works until it doesn't, and then you get the public kind of like crapping on the industry because they're saying, well, now everyone sounds like this or everyone's doing this. It's like, it's cool until it's not. Like Jay said, it was all good just a week ago. And so I think we just kill that by just staying true to yourself and just wanting to be different. I was gonna, it's funny, I was gonna actually put that somewhere. I'll post it somewhere, but I was gonna say, remember when it was cool to be different? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's so real because people be scared to be different. They might get laughed at, clowned, or something like that. But what happens when it works is that one person that breaks through. I was just with my boys a week or two ago. I was up top in New York, and my man was like, "Yo, remember when you had those kicks? See, we saw some kicks those back in the day. He was like, "I wanted them so bad, but I couldn't get them because Ace had them." And I was like, "Yo, but remember that? Like, like it was a time where okay, the whole crew had the same thing, but it was also a time where it was like you wanted to be different. You ain't want that jacket or that shirt that fitted those kicks because your man had it. It was like, nah, I'm gonna rock it a different way, or I'm gonna get a different color, or I'm gonna just go somewhere else." It's like now people be kind of scared to do that, man. So we need to be honest with who we are as people. Let me tie it back in and bring more honesty to the forefront. You know what I'm saying? People sharing the goods with the bads. You know what I'm saying? The rainy days are just as much as the ones where everyone's shining and doing it big. That's how we get hip hop back out of prison, bringing it to where it needs to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you like that portion, the Let's Build part of the podcast. Shout out to Rod King, Milwaukee in the house. Shout out to everybody on Instagram, Transparent Credit Repair, people who really do your credit right. Shout out to you. Shout out to Tyler's Butterflies, my people out there. Listen, we have just done the first part of the interview. Stay tuned because now we're going to go into the music. So now you know about the man. Now we're going to learn about the inspiration that it takes to make great music. So everybody sit back, relax, and I'll tell you, I promise you, great things are coming in this interview. You enjoying yourself?
Yes, sir. Let's do it, man.
Yeah.
Rakim, what up?
All right, and we'll be back right after this.
Where you get your hip hop from? Yeah, what's up? This Tribal Trigger Trench in the building. You already know, nip, naughty.
Hey, Redman is in the building, of course. Jersey's finest, all about them bars, marijuana smoker. Hey, PSA announcement. I need everybody go support. That's right, support my fucking state, my city. Heritage Hip Hop, a New Jersey media source that celebrates New Jersey hip hop worldwide. Facts. Please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on social media. That is Heritage Hip Hop on social media.
What up, y'all, man? It's your boy Do It All, Do Pray Kelly, right here on Heritage Hip Hop, man. Look, man, let me tell you something. Make sure you support Heritage Hip Hop because without these brothers bringing you hip hop, we're not gonna stay informed, man, the way that we need to stay informed, man. And they're not just giving you hip hop, man. They're giving you the heritage of hip hop right here, man. Yo, Karev, I see you. Heritage Hip Hop, man. Let's do it.
It ain't nothing like Heritage Hip Hop.
Man, I jam to my own stuff, y'all. I'll be in here just bugging when I see that commercial because that's a dream come true. Shameless plug before we get back. Do y'all like hip hop like I do? Because, I have a little kid side to me. So sometimes, as a little kid, you like comic books, you like video games, you got things you collect. But check out what I got in the mail today. I'm going to show you something I got. I'm an avid hip hop fan. And this is Eric B. and Rakim. I got this from super7.com. If you like collectibles like this, I gotta be toys, you gotta play with them. But if you like collectibles, you can go to heritagehiphop.com or look into the description of the videos and see the links that we have for certain figures. And the main figure that we're promoting right now, if you're a Wu-Tang fan, Tony Stark's Ghostface with the Wonder Woman arm, the same one from Def Jam Vendetta. If you like these things, you can head on over to heritagehiphop.com, look in the descriptions of the videos to see what we're highlighting. Soon we have another figure coming, Old Dirty Bastard, when he said Wu-Tang's for the kids. That Bad Boy is good, but Wu-Tang is the best. We're gonna have that figure very soon. So just look out for that and support us, man. heritagehiphop.com. And now back to our interview with AceWonda, MC out of Maryland, Jersey first, but we're going to stick to that DMV. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about your music right now because that's why we're here. And music is the backbone of the culture. I want to ask you the realest question anybody can ask a writer. What inspired you to rhyme and what inspired you to be the best rhymer you could be?
What inspired me to rhyme? Just I want to say the art of just connecting words and making it just sound dope. Like, I just like how certain artists can actually piece words together. That kind of just does it for me. Like, I really just being different, you know what I'm saying? Uniqueness. That's what kind of inspired me. It was also kind of being able to pull different emotions out of people. Like, I'm like being able to laugh. So I like artists that are kind of witty with their bars. They can be serious, but yet, you can actually laugh at a few different punchlines from them. Like, they'll hit you and can evoke emotion, you know what I'm saying, for motivation. So that's kind of what inspired me. Just the hearing of how MCs just made something sound just fly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just sounded dope. What was the second part?
What inspired you to be the best rhymer you could be?
I could tell you, doing things different. I like doing things. So when I say different, I mean not different from other people, but different from myself. I don't like kind of reinventing the wheel, or duplicating something. So if I've done something and it won, I kind of say, acknowledge that, maybe pat myself on the back, but now I want to move on. I don't want to keep creating the same thing because it was a winner before. It could win again, but maybe the culture that moved on and what was hot then may not be hot now. I don't even get stuck in that. I try to further my craft by just doing things differently, and differently from what I've created in the past. So I try to change things up with each project, different sounds and different rhyme schemes and patterns, and we can get technical, but that's kind of what motivates me to advance my craft.
I want to ask you a question from a different standpoint because I listen to your music and I hear philosophical hip hop, not street hip hop or not just rhyming hip hop. You have a distinctive usage of words and mind thought type of artistry. Like, you are more of a painter than a rhymer. Like, you actually are setting scenes. That's very hard to do as a rhymer. And there's people who do it well, but when you realize that there's not a lot of people that do it well, it makes you appreciate it more. But you've been through some things that you talk about in your rhymes. Let me ask you this. what has made hip hop more influential to you? Is it the street and real life outside of your home? Or is it the classroom and the school of thought outside of your home?
Man, that's tough. That's a great question too. The street or the classroom outside my home. I don't like that. See, that's like a drink champs question where I got to drink to that because it's kind of like both. I can't pick one. You feel me?
Okay.
Okay. Now, but I'll tell you why. Let me bring because it
Let's go.
depends on where I'm at, and like at a younger age, it was definitely more street. That's just where my motivation was at. That's what fueled me. That's where my desires were, and I was in school, but even being in school, I was still, you know what I'm saying, over here doing other things. Progressing, growing up, you know, having children, maturing, obtaining different careers. It was definitely more. Now, I'm not saying the classroom because I'm now out of the classroom, but it's more of what the classroom instilled in me. And it's like, you know, different train of thoughts and a level of maturity and the lack of being wanting to be not so much associated, but care to still, I guess, be stuck in that context to where everything had to be street related, you know, because you can be very street, but it's not what you say, but how you say it. It's all about, like you said, how you paint the picture. The people that are street, they'll understand it anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you, you ain't gotta talk street to be street in your lyrics if you slick enough. You feel me?
But very much so. But in doing research, you went to Howard University.
Indeed.
The HBCUs are, I think, one of the most forgotten voices in hip hop because we don't talk about how the HBCUs carried hip hop when hip hop was fresh and being bastardized and demonized in social context. And also, the HBCUs carried hip hop when the world was just starting to accept it, but they kept it pure culturally. How did the HBU experience help craft your pen through experience?
I'll say this in many different ways. For one, it was exposure. So we talked about moving from Jersey to Maryland, exposing me to go-go. I get introduced to go-go. I'm realizing now out here, um, you know, peers of mine and people, they are more appreciative to more down south hip hop. You know, when I went up to Howard, I get exposed to now a whole different side of hip hop. I'm talking about screw music. You know what I'm saying? Like chopped and screw. Like one of my best homies is from Houston. I'm finding out all about, you know, DJ Screw and you know, all that. Had some homegirls from Chicago, you know what I'm saying, putting me on to like Twister and Do or Die and different things like that. Devin the Dude. So it opened me up to where I bring tie it back. That was one to where it opened me up and allowed my pen to then want to create different. I was been experimenting with different beats and sounds. I didn't want to necessarily stay in the same pocket of certain beats that I wanted to rhyme over. That was the influence on that. Now the craft, man, Howard has so much talent, bro. I mean, so much talent. Like all HBCUs and people know, like it's just so much talent elsewhere. But the people that I ran across that could, I mean, that could produce or that could rap. To me, some of these guys were nicer than the people that you would hear on the radio. And I'm having ciphers with him like he's next to go in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? We lock it, we're in the car, we just going back of it. It'd be like 3-4, like I'm telling you, nice. You know what I'm saying? Like cats from out of Philly. You know what I'm saying? One cat that was up from Buffalo before the Buffalo thing kind of had its surgence recently. Like I knew 20 years ago in Buffalo that was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it kept us sharp and you know, it was all about bragging rights. You wanted to be the nicest. That still remains. It was competitive. So it was like no matter what, you thought you was nice, you had to then spit for this person. And so it furthered my craft because not only was I now realizing that, okay, I can kind of do my thing. I'm appreciated. My skill set's appreciated. Um, but this guy over here from Cali, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he's dope as well. Like I said, down south, he's dope as hell. And they all had their own different twist on lyrics and how they delivered. And so it really just made me kind of step outside of what I was doing and try to search for a different way to be dope. And that's the best way to put it. Like searching for a different way to be dope. Because once you learn you're nice at one thing, a person who really cares about the craft or the sport, they want to get nice at something else. You know what I'm saying? If you nice at shooting three, you want to get your mid range nice. You know what I'm saying? You want to then start work, get your work in the paint. You know, you want to be the best at all levels. So that's what I was trying to do. I was just trying to be nice to where I was respected and stand elite amongst all the MCs from everywhere throughout the university. That's first and foremost.
But think about this. Just like there's tiers of learning you're nice, you're not, just because you rap don't mean you nice.
Absolutely.
That means you just put your foot to the threshold. It isn't until you create a project that you're nice. And you know what I'm talking about as a creator. Because it's like, okay, you know how to put crayon on the paper. Does that make you an artist? No. It doesn't. It means you know how to produce a type of understanding of art. But the art itself comes in the creation, the pain, the experience, and then the giving of the art to the world. And realistically speaking, it says May 17th, 2006, the Simon Williams Project, Memoirs of a Vagabond. Now, I could tell you was in your artist bag because that title long as shit.
It is, right?
But what was it like creating that project and introducing yourself to the recording world and giving the world yourself?
That's everyone's first child. That's everything you've experienced as a human leading up to this point. That's why so many people's first project is heavy because it's a lot. It's like you've been carrying all this for so long, all your life's experiences, your observations, your struggles, your triumphs, and then you now get a chance to share it with the world. So as they say, you only get was one chance to make a first impression. You know what I'm saying? You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. And that was it. That's why I think on that joint I had maybe like 28 tracks. That was in the mixtape era too, you know, like that. So I'm not even over like original beats. It was maybe like 3 or 4 original beats, but you know, I got some beats over there from probably some popular tracks that were out at the time. And I don't know if that was before or during the J Arms era. People that's really into hip hop know how J Arms had all the instrumentals, and we were just gripping all the instrumentals offline and rapping over them. But that was raw. That was me raw. Like I mean, gritty. I was a different person back then. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about twisting that Dutch. Go ahead.
Yeah. It was gritty. It was what I was on, you know what I'm saying, every day, all day. It was unapologetic. Man, I love that project. My best friends tell me that was one of their favorite projects, you know. But I can understand why, because people that was close to me, they know me, they grew up. Those rhymes and those lyrics were tales that some of them lived through with me. They connected to because they was in the car with me, or you know what I'm saying, they experienced the transition from me moving. So that was a lot, man. But that was a whole piece of me that that's probably like the first 20 something years of my life, all in that one mixtape, man, to be honest with you.
But then after you create, now everybody starts saying, oh, he nice. I want to work with him. Now, I know that you had a group, Pressure Tank, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was you and some friends. But you also have a group project with a gentleman. Let me get my notes. Jay Cypher, The Alliance.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. You know, when I go through the music, I like to introduce these albums. So when you go to Bandcamp and look up AceWonda and you see this music that you should purchase, by the way.
There we go.
When we do this, I'm showing you that consistency breeds excellence, and excellence breeds experience. And experience breeds the story that will inspire the next person who listens to it to create on their own. The experience of being an accomplished recording artist to now going from a solo recording artist to now intermingling your talents with other people. What was that experience in terms of your growth, not just you creating music?
So the growth was, let me rewind a little bit, right? Because Jay Cypher is my right-hand man, right? All through me and him, we met in college at Howard University. He's from the Bronx. We were like inseparable, you know what I'm saying? And I was already rhyming, you know what I'm saying? And I think he furthered his craft, whether he was kind of already rhyming or, you know, just kind of starting off. With me, it was like full speed ahead. And so we're going back and forth to the studio, and I crafted my project at the same time he crafted his solo project. What we did was we had so much material that we had recorded together, we had never dropped anything. And it's like anybody that it's your homie, y'all always together making music. A lot of times music just starts to collect. And so we had to put something out. And that that was the alliance. That was me and him. Me and him back and forth was like energy you couldn't even, you couldn't even explain. You know what I'm saying? Like we know each other, finish each other's sentences, know each other front and back, and it just worked. You know what I'm saying? It just worked. It was raw. Again, it was a Jersey BX connection, and that was the first thing. Now, I won't say that was my first time collaborating because I already had a crew in Jersey. We had just never officially put out a project. And I was on a project that they officially put out, but it wasn't like it was my project. So we had the alliance. We put that out. That's some of those lyrics right now I stand on is still running to this day. And I mean run toe to toe with what is, saying, like what you listening to out here. So fast forward to Pressure Tank now. That's a whole different beast. Pressure Tank is 3 brothers, myself, Hydro Trust, and Most Real, who I met out here in Maryland through a homie of mine that worked at Howard University. I also worked at Howard University after I had finished graduated, got my degree. So, Jersey people, we tend to link up no matter how it happens. We bump into each other. I got another brother that's working from Jersey, working at the building, across from mine. He introduced me to his man, who is Most Real, who's from Atlantic City, New Jersey. Now, me and him, we bond and connect, and he introduces me to his brother, Hydro Trust. Hydro Trust is from Annapolis. And so it's kind of like some boys that hoop, and it's just like, yeah, how I looked at it back then when they first, I think we knew somebody who had a studio over at the crib, and they was like, yo, you want to come through, check the studio out, maybe get on something. And me, I always looked at it like it was some wreck. Like, yeah, Jersey, we keep, a pair of trunks, if not the shorts on us, we got a ball in the truck. I mean, in the trunk, you know what I'm saying? I pull up to the court and just get busy. I looked at it kind of like that. Like, I was ready to just rock out. Like, they said, come over here to the studio. Okay, cool. That one session led into something that we still build and create till this day. And so Pressure Tank is just us 3. They actually had the group, some background on it. So they had the group Pressure Tank. Something happened to where they kicked some homie out the group. You know what I'm saying? Like they had, you know, saying some a little rift between them. And then they was like, yo, you know, we do this. It's called Pressure Tank. You know what I'm saying? But you want to, you know, start recording or whatever like that. And I was like, all right, cool. Because I kind of chilled back. I was doing some other stuff that, you know, let's just say neither here nor there. But I always still had an affinity for music, but I wasn't actively on the music and recording. That kind of just scratched that itch that was just like, you know, yeah, like I still can ball. You know what I'm saying? Like I could still ball. So rocking with them kind of, I don't want to say knock the rust off, but then it refueled, lit the fire back up under me to start now going back into the studio. So then that's where we have Pressure Tank projects to where a lot of them were early on like Dat Piff. You know, before the streaming, we started recording back in, let's say 2014 or 2013. I think our first project where I was a part of Pressure Tank was Journey to the Chip. And then we had the Gray album. Then it's a bunch of tracks. And when you get on the streaming platforms, it doesn't really showcase the body of work and the catalog that we have, because I think we only have maybe 2 projects, maybe 3, due to us now utilizing original production to where we can actually put it out on streaming, you know, without going through all the, you know, the paperwork or people want to riff about, you know, using that. Using a beats or whatever like that. But that's what people did back then. Everyone knows the mixtape era. You know, the beat was hot, it was getting snatched and rhyming. It was simple. You know what I'm saying? You find it on that pitch. So that's the backstory from where the alliance with Jay Cypher. Then my boy Cypher, he moved back up top. See, I stayed out here in Maryland. You know what I'm saying? And he moved back up top, so he's back up in New York. But I transitioned and stopped doing music for a while. And then when I came back, it was with Pressure Tank, group wise. I didn't return to solo work until 2020 and talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. But before we do, Brothers Keeper is fire. I'm gonna say that from the door. On the Alliance, Brothers Keeper, I told you, I tried to get to listen to some stuff. Brothers Keeper is fire. And tell Jay Cypher, when he want to build, I got a seat for him right here.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? He might not be releasing music, maybe, but philosophically, I like to talk to him, because one thing as an MC, I realize, and as you do your solo projects, I see the growth and how your life has changed from when you started rhyming to now. So I want to talk about the new project, which is out right now. Ladies and gentlemen, he has a new project with Slimline Mother. That's the producer.
Yes, sir.
And the name of the album is called The Odyssey of One. And it reminds me of your first album with the cover. Because on the cover of the Simon Williams, it's a man sitting in the staircase looking at a door. Like he's just somewhere he's trying to go. And then on the cover of The Odyssey of One, it's a door and it's a person standing in the middle. Like either, is he coming from that place? Is he going to that place? And the conversations that you have on both projects are very eerie, because it shows the growth of not only the mind, but the growth of experience a man goes through when he rhymes. Do you want to talk about that before we go into songs?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, what part specifically, but the connection you just made was everything. So I appreciate you taking the time to even analyze and peep that.
One song that I love. Nah, I'm not even gonna do that. We can't wait. Let's talk about one song that really, really made me sit down. Honest Reflections. That's, I think, one of the most important songs I've ever heard anybody really make. Because the best songs to me is when a person gives you their soul. DMX did it on Slippin'. Even Big Pun did it on Capital Punishment. He told a little bit about his soul. Redman, la la la, da da da, no, da da da. Just a young man doing grown man shit. That song, right? He talked about how, you know, he's gonna tell his sister how he gonna make it. But let's look even deeper. Rakim on The Ghetto. when he round about coming to earth as a spirit into the sperm, into the egg, and then being born. When a person gives you themselves, it's an elevation of talent because, yeah, we know you can rhyme. Yeah, we know that you're nice, but now you're telling us about you. What does that song mean to you when you think about your entire catalog?
Oh wow. Courage, um, a level of comfortability within myself and my own skin, and growth, growth. Just being able to speak on things in a different light, to where I'm not being aggressive, but just kind of just plainly just telling it how it is and how I feel. You know, whether you like it or not. It's just that's one of them tracks to where I kind of was just speaking to myself. You know, I started off always making music for myself. I never cared what anyone else thought, um, because I honestly, music was always just a hobby to me. It honestly was. I never strived to be an actual artist. I never tried to be a rapper. I never chased the dream. You know, some friends of mine I think went much harder on that goal. Um, I just like rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like I just like writing rhymes. And then it was just, as time kind of progresses and life changes, I was able to dedicate more time to it. You stop doing other things, you start pursuing more passions or pouring more time into passions that you already have. And this is kind of where we're at. I just kind of started developing the craft because my passion grew for it. And so it became a hobby to where it's a beautiful obsession. And I say that to say, Honest Reflections was just one of them therapeutic tracks to where just kind of had to let my soul just speak. You know what I'm saying? Like just speak and just tell it how it is because, you know, um, I've been doing this for a minute, I think um I'm very confident in my skills and everything, but I said it before, like whether one person hears it or a zillion people hear it, I'll be doing this, And so let me just tell you like where I'm at with my ability.
The Odyssey of One is a project that speaks not only to a person's inner man, but to their inner ego. Because the beat selection is very, like I said, it's philosophical. It ain't just boom, bap, boom, bap, boom. It's things in there that are very soulful, reflecting.
Yeah.
And to me, the most important song I heard is WSC, Woulda, Shoulda, Coulda.
Oh,
Because that is the bridge that every man takes to find his purpose. What would have happened, what should have happened, what could have happened. And at the end of the song, it was like, ain't none of that shit happened. Look where you at right now. What are you going to make happen? Why was that message important for you to make?
um, I think it was something that I had to just put out there to kind of get past some thoughts. And when I say that, I mean I wanted to speak on it because I think it's relatable to everyone. Everyone has those moments to where they kind of think back and they dwell or harbor on different moves that they made. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get accepted for this, or they decided to do this, so now they kind of in their bed and laying it. Um, it's relatable, right? If you've lived life and experienced some things, at some point, someone or you yourself think, man, well, I would have did this if I could have did this, or I should have did that. It's just life. It's just being human. Everyone does it. If you don't, then maybe shout out to you, but it's something that I think is just a human thing that you can't help but to do. Now, to be stuck on it and let it drive you or haunt you, that's where what you were saying towards the end, it's like, get over that. Like you want to focus on the now and the present. Appreciate that, acknowledge that, but let it go. And so that's just all I was saying. Like it was just an acknowledgement of it. I spoke on, would have did this or I could have did that. Maybe I should have did that. Ain't none of that happened. I'm actually happy where I'm at. And so I keep it moving and keep it pushing, at this current time. But I just put some things out there, for not for some other people, but for myself also.
I want to go to the next part of my interview, which is called Project versus Project. Because it's easy to talk about the Odyssey of One in the first project by the album art. And like I said, you have grown. The reason why I've been looking back and forth, if you wanted to know, because I have notes on both sides. I really love interviewing, as you can tell, because I'm learning from you. And there's a project that I want you to really dive into. I don't know if I should. You pick. Should I do the project or should I do a song? What do you think?
Do a project.
Let's talk about Even Rebels Say Grace and the Wonder Years.
Okay.
Because Even Rebels Say Grace, remember we talked about Will Withers and the prayer hands.
Yeah.
They're behind you, over your left shoulder. See that?
Mm-hmm.
I look at that. I see all them hands. But that title is so deep. And if you look at the album art of that, you got like an Incan god type face with chains and things on it, right? And that is the goal every man wants, is the higher level. But as the kid in the Wonder Years, and if you think about that show, it's a recounting of your life as a grown man looking at your innocent stages of life. And the Wonder Years could be what you want from your life as you live your life. Tell me about those two projects, the Wonder Years and Even Rebels Say Grace, and how it led to the Odyssey of One.
Okay. Let me think now. So Even Rebels Say Grace, first of all, is a collaboration project with my brother Broadway. Same kid that grew up with me through the sandbox from Queens, my best friend, right? Dope MC, still up in Jersey. And we had to get one in. It's my boy from back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And we've been rhyming together. So when I was saying I've actually been on a project back in the day with my crew in Jersey, he's who I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, the crew is definitely larger, but I believe he is the one that masterminded and actually put it out. So I say that to say we dropped this project on the New Year's Eve of 2023. We had a collection of tracks, and then we went in and we started crafting some music. But he produced the whole thing. He's a dope producer. All the beats were done by him. And it's me and him just getting busy. Just raw rap. You know what I'm saying? And we're like-minded. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were both, paper chasing. You know what I'm saying? Like, back in the day, coming up. And we still on the grind, just on a more mature, more polished, refined level. And so we approached it where we still want to keep that grit, still talking that talk, you know what I'm saying, that slick talk, to one that those, if you've been about it, you can relate, you can kind of connect to it. But then we also want to share and shed some of those more, personal and mature layers that we've tapped on over the years, so it ain't just more on like a street thing, it's more just and that was just us, like, finally putting one together, saying, bro, we got one. Had a whole slew of tracks, handcrafted it and trimmed it down, and then threw that out there for the people. That's the vinyl, you know what I'm saying, that I got behind me. So now, after that was end of 2023. The Wonder Years is an EP. Crafted and solely produced by my boy Cinema, who I met at Howard University. And I spoke on him briefly in the intro of that. Man, this dude is super talented. He was like like I said it before, he was like a Kanye, and what Kanye represented as far as like the producer that can just spit and be acknowledged and appreciated for his rhyme skills. He was that before, because me, I was kind of just chilling in the background. You know what I'm saying? Like people that rhymed and could rhyme or rap that Howard knew I could rap, but I wasn't getting into like any of the actual what they call it, the competitions. They call them verbal Armageddons. My boy Cinema, his name is Jannard Butler and everything, because and he's still doing music and he had a lot more stuff coming. But he was getting first and second place in those verbal Armageddons at Howard University. And he started crafting beats, and he was a dope ass producer. And so it would be me, Jay Cypher, and my boy Cinema. Back then he went by Philip Blunts, because literally all he used to do was fill up blunts. You know what I'm saying? That was his play on the name. And we would be cooking. It was just us three. We would just be cooking back then. And so he started sending me beats when I got my little home studio together. You know what I'm saying? Like the first makeshift home studio. And I was like, yo, you know I owe it, because it's funny you brought that up, and I could tie it full circle. The Simon Williams project I mentioned had maybe 3, maybe 4 original beats. Those were his original beats. Everything else was probably like some industry beats I just snatched and rhymed over, but the original ones were solely by him. And so we got back together, and he's cooking, I'm cooking, and I said, yo, I got to put this out, because I was sitting on it. I actually wrote this stuff probably in like 2000. I want to say right around pandemic. And that's when kind of changed my whole trajectory as far as an artist also, because, you know, a lot of people, they picked up different things, and I just kind of pushed the gas on the music. I created my own creative space in the house. And so now I owned everything. When I mean I owned the process. Now I used to enjoy going to the studio. Now everything was just in house, because it wasn't that. So the Wonder Years is an EP. I want to say it's 6 tracks, all produced by my boy Sim. And it was written, I want to say, from 2020, but I put it out 2024. It's a play on, like you said, the show, the Wonder Years. Because back in the day, that when I was around a certain age or whatever, that was my favorite show. You know what I'm saying? Like the Wonder Years was my shit. You know what I'm saying? Probably the curse, whatever. But then it played on Wonder. You know what I'm saying? Wonder. So it was just like I try to do things that actually connects and makes sense to me. People may not get it from the outside looking in. If they want to know and they care to know, they can ask. But the Wonder Years was that EP that was just personal. And it was me just kind of trying to stay sharp with my craft when I have things to say. I don't know if I'm gonna ever put it out, but I had some things to say, you know. So I got some personal tracks on there. Then I got some tracks where I'm just playing wordplay and just getting busy.
That's all fine and dandy. Well, let's end this part of the interview with a heartfelt question. You have a ring on your finger, and you have children, because you talked about being a husband and father already.
Yeah,
I'll pick up
absolutely.
the little things you say. I'll listen.
You listen, okay.
As you progress as a man and these new chambers open up into your life, how do you, as an artist, implant them into your music so that it makes sense and you appreciate the growth that you had from the past projects and never let those experiences go?
In relation to being a husband and father,
And to an artist as well.
I guess it's more personal development. And when I say that, you want to be able to connect to people on a different level. And I'll say this by when I say a different level, I want to touch on topics and concepts that I think are a little bit more broader. I used to tend to try to make music. I used to only care about making music for myself, or like for my homies. That as long as they knew I was dope or they thought I was nice, that was good enough for me. I didn't care about who, and even in the next town, knew about me making music. Most people, truth be told, don't even know I make music. You know what I'm saying? Like they might stumble across an IG page or hear something and be like, "Yo, what?" Like they have no clue because it's not something that I ever put out there. You know what I'm saying? And so I say that to say, now I find myself attempting to broaden my I guess my skill set, my toolbox by now touching on topics that more people can relate to. So you get songs like Fearless or Champion because it resonates with a deeper audience, a larger pool of people. Being a father, I can tell you, it has me very selective on certain things I say because now I'm very mindful of what my children will hear because I'll play my stuff, they in the back seat. And so it's certain things that I don't allow them or want them to hear. And I realize it's kind of whack if I can't play my music. Like some things that kind of hit me personally a few times. Like I realized some of my tracks ain't for them. But it's really cool when I can have some of my music just stay on and it can just rock out. And they like it. They like the melody, you know what I'm saying? They know when they hear that on the radio it's coming to the car. I really love when I have those songs to where they can actually ride out to. So I think maturing more to where selectivity in language, attempting to curse less or not curse at all. That's definitely one thing. I've never really been more on a raunchy thing, but just a level of maturity through the music and something that they can actually appreciate. Sometimes it comes with the production too. I think Slimline really helped me out with that on this project. As you mentioned, a lot of the beats. Man, I went through a bunch of beats. The man is he's incredible. He's incredible. But the ones that I picked that I chose for this last project, I felt really spoke to me. So I'm mindful also of my wife and what she may hear. So sometimes some things just have to happen. They just get said, and she just gotta accept it. Truth be told, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm an artist, and so it's like I'm not gonna compromise, but I'm still in that space to where I have a wife, I have children, I have daughters at that, and so I want to be respectful, to. And I've never been out of pocket as far as disrespectful, you know what I'm saying, to women or anything, but it makes me more willing to attempt to maybe switch up some wording. And that's where it is, man. It's just, self-awareness and the willingness to try to go the extra step above and beyond now to be mindful of, who's in my everyday life, who's consuming this, because it's them that I'm away from when I'm creating. And so it should be something that they can at least consume, tolerate, and be palatable to them when I'm with them. I think that's fair.
And I love that answer because that's the ultimate goal. So before we close everything out, there's two more segments of the show I want to do. One is called Choose Your Hot Topic. Well, I have 3 topics based on the interview and what's going on in the media. The first topic is life versus death. The second topic is called DEI. And the third topic, once again, leadership. Pick one. What would you like to talk about? Life versus death, DEI, and leadership.
Let's go with leadership.
That's the easy one, of course. And let's go from there. The final question before we sum up the end part of this interview is this. Whenever a person creates art, they put themselves as the example that's going to lead the thoughts or the creativity of something to come, especially when it catches on. What MC inspired you? And as an MC, how do you want to inspire people who listen to your music?
Man, I've been inspired by many. I don't know the most. I could say let's keep the Jersey Redman who you had on the intro. He was one of the pillars and one of the first people I seen from our home state actually. I mean, just crushing it on all levels and being accepted in different circles. So when I say he was dope within himself, just with he was raw. You know what I'm saying? He was raw. Um, his wordplay was definitely gritty, but he inspired me also because um, as I grew, I saw him grow as an artist and remain dope on all levels to where he was dope standing next to Method Man. You know what I'm saying? And they partnership that they had, but he was also dope within Def Squad. You know what I'm saying? Like he had a crew where he was actually dope. He was dope as a solo MC, and you know what I'm saying. He just put it down for Jersey, so he inspired me for sure.
With that being said, I want you to stand on your square. Tell everybody your name, your social media, your album, and why they should buy it. You got 30 seconds. Go.
No doubt. AceWonda. Social media is underscore AceWonda. That's underscore ACEWONDA. The latest album is The Odyssey of One with me and my brother Slimline Mother. And you got to get it because it's raw, it's authentic, and the lyrics are a step above, man. I mean, you want something that the production is unique, is tailored to where you knew it was custom fitted for myself, and it was like I said, slow roasted, man. It was slow roasted. This wasn't no microwave project that we put together. We handcrafted it. I mean, recorded within a couple months, but through the post production, the mastering, we sat with this for a few extra months to get it right, just so it could be, right for the listener. And I touched on so many different broad topics. That's probably 30 seconds, but yeah, there you go.
With songs on the Odyssey of One, like Honest Reflections, WSC, which is what it should have, could have. Also, songs like The Come Up Kings, Atreyu is something really interesting to me. And Living Off
Yeah.
Experience. You have music on here for the ears of those who really love hip hop. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself on Bandcamp, I ask that you please give give Ace Wonder's music a chance. If you like it, stream it. If you love it, buy it. And afford yourself more music by giving him what he deserves for making quality music, which is your money and your time. And we thank you for investing in it. Now we go into the rapid fire questions, which are not yes, no questions. These are questions designed to show you the depth of humanity and knowledge of hip hop culture that the artist, this guy right here, that he's supposed to know. So you ready to play the game with me?
Let's go.
All right, let me ask you a couple questions. Shout out to my grandson. He over here bugging. I gotta give him some time before he go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So this first question: what's the greatest hip hop beat made? Meaning, if that person never had the beat, it would have been your first single.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Beat. Oh man. Busta Rhymes, it's not even a song, it's an intro. I have it as one of the songs on the Simon Williams project. I snatched the beat from his intro and had to put it on my first project. Boom, 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 da, 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 da. Whoever's listening is like, what is he talking about? If you know, if you know this Busta track, it's from the intro. It has no song. I don't even think it has a title to it. That's the illest beat. I listened to that over and over again and had to have it on my first project.
So y'all go get that first project so y'all know what he's talking about. Perfect plug. I like it. Next question. What album or single from another artist perfectly describes you?
Man, you got some good ones. Position of Power, 50 Cent.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That's the nastiest, one of the nastiest pianos in hip hop history. I love that beat.
Yeah.
That song. Woo,
Yeah.
I forgot who made it. I forgot who made that song, but that's a bad man right there. And I love that beat because I heard the instrumental on 50 Cent Bulletproof PS2.
Mm-hmm.
That was the beat I was going crazy on. So shout out to the Massacre 50 Cent. We're gonna
Yeah,
go to
one
the
of my
next
favorite
question.
albums.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Now, battle rhymes, battle rapping is one part of the culture that people can't appropriate and discredit. As a New Jersey MC that transplanted, what was the best battle you ever had, and what did you take from it?
I wasn't into the battle thing. I mean, as far as like, yeah. So my battling was in ciphers. Now you talking about like official battles, like what they do nowadays. You see like a battle that's set up and scheduled, and you versus you, and y'all gonna go. Nah, battling was just every day. Battling could happen anytime you walked outside. Man. So okay, I tell you, one of the nicest cats I met. He was at Howard, Philly cat. His name was Hollywood Clay. Shout out Clay if you ever tap into this interview and see this. He was one of the guys I was mentioning was in the backseat rapping. I'm thinking like this dude probably nicer than some of the cats I even hear on the radio. Having ciphers back then on the roofs of dorms and stuff like that. Like, but he was a cat that was super nice. That I remember me and him trading bars back and forth to where it was like, okay, yeah, this Philly dude got it. You know, he had that Philly thing before the Young Guns. That Philly thing took over. I realized where it was coming from. You know what I'm saying? Like they was all kind of in that mixing pot. So I would say he was one of the ones that were trading bars with. I know that he was nodding heads at each other. So, yeah. My honor amongst men on that type of day. You talking? I can't hear you. You on mute.
Yeah, your sound went out. I don't know what happened. Yes, a battle's not always you and one guy, and the cipher is the original battle because
Yeah.
the cipher was the proving ground. So I call it the cypherology of hip hop, where you had to come outside.
Cypher was the true and first battle. That's
Exactly.
that's what it was, man. That's what it was.
Exactly.
Oh, I can't forget my boy Longshot. I can't forget my boy Longshot. He was one of the nicest amongst us all growing up. And, you know what I'm saying? From Jersey as well. And he moved out to Maryland a year before I did. And we took our rhyming and skills from Jersey to Maryland. We was battling then and, you know what I'm saying, out here in Maryland. So my boy Longshot's crazy.
Everybody always asks the question, if you could collab with somebody, who would you want to collab with, living or dead or whatever? I refuse to ask you that question. Instead, I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
If you had the ability to sit in on an album session to see its creation, what album would that be and why?
Jeez, that's a lot of albums. Any album, any session?
Just one.
You know what? First thing that comes to my mind is Nas. Life is Good. That album rocked so long in my whip, and I wasn't a big fan. Not say of Nas, but a lot of his albums. You know what I'm saying? Nas is one MC I love, but I also have my times where I pick at him. You know what I'm saying? Because I love him so much, but sometimes I kind of admit, like, I felt disappointed with some projects. Life is Good was such a masterpiece. He made me eat my words. I was like, yo, this brother is just crazy. Like, I wish every album was that, but everyone has their own albums that feel like that. But if I could sit through and see just where he was mentally to create that body of work, that to me was just amazing. You know, his song about daughters on there. He had a track called Daughters on there. You know, he touched on so many things, but the title itself, I'm a big believer in titles and how titles can steer I guess the strength of a body, a full project, you know. And so he set it up with Life is Good, and that project was super solid.
Okay. Next question. Hip hop is the #1 genre in the world, but it hasn't touched on everything. Where do you think hip hop is lacking? What does it need to talk about now?
What do we need to talk about now? Community, and I would say like the individual. So let's get away from I'm talking about breaking it down from just where we are as a people from like the bare bones. You know what I'm saying? Like from the foundation within the community. We speak on it, but I think it's more driven from like a financial standpoint. And so not to say it's lacking, because I think hip hop has kind of touched on damn near everything under the sun. But if we can highlight certain things, I think it would be more on just like the bare essence of what the art should be, and a powerful message to the people and about community.
That's deep. I like how you put that. Okay. So, how did you like being on the Heritage Hip Hop podcast, and would you recommend us to anybody else?
Oh, absolutely, man. I loved it. I want to say this has been the most thorough interview that I've participated in. So I appreciate you first and foremost for just listening to the art, my art. You know what I'm saying? Like, and actually coming with questions to where I know you went digging. You went digging. You listened, and you had some thought provoking questions that weren't so easy to answer. They stirred up a lot of good conversation. So thank you. And as far as absolutely, absolutely, uh, this platform for all MCs, because not only I think will the listeners learn, but the MC will, artist, whoever it could be, let's just say the musician or the talent that's, I think, get a good appreciation for what you do, as a journalist or interviewer, and appreciate, the approach that you have to it. Because you got it built out with your segments, and then how you tie things. And I peeped how you'll stay quiet, but I might speak on it because I know I can be long winded sometimes and go on my own thing. But you pick it up and then you tie it all back and spit what I said right back at me. So not everyone could do that, but you did it well. So I appreciate that.
I appreciate that too. And everybody, thank you for watching the Heritage Hip Hop podcast tonight. This will be available, well, it is available live right now on YouTube, but all Heritage Hip Hop podcast episodes are also available on your streaming platform of choice, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, etc. Wherever you have a phone, you have Heritage Hip Hop right next to you. And we're going to come to the final question of the episode, and it's this. This is the final question of every first interview. So if you ever want to come back, we're here, okay? And the final question is, 500 years from now, in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame, when they go to see the AceWonda exhibit, whether you still represent the DMV or whatever, it doesn't matter, you're there. And somebody pushes that red button and they see one of these things pop out, you know what I'm saying? And your hologram comes out the wall and they hear your music, you're going to inspire people 500 years into the future from today. So my most important question in the first interview is, what legacy did you leave behind that made the world better because you created hip hop music?
Relentless discovery within self. So I want people to continue to strive to just be better, self-improvement, never settling, never compromising, always searching for more within themselves and their craft. And that's it, man. Just someone that always want to push themselves in the artistry further.
Ladies and gentlemen, always remember to push yourself and the art forward, because when you're stagnant, you put yourself in that prison of contentment. And when you're in prison, not only is your soul not free, but you're not giving God his just due of giving you the freedom to create and express. Give the world your best, give God his due, and remember, your name will live forever, and a good name lasts longer than a good smell, because as smells fade, your name will inspire those to come in the far future, not just the contemporary future time that you're living in. I get wordy, everybody. I get choked up because I love music and I love our culture. And with that, I want to thank AceWonda for coming on the show. Shout out to MJ's Hip Hop Connects.
Shout out MJ. Thank you, brother.
That's right. Shout out to the Fleet DJs and shout out to you, AceWonda, and you that's the watcher. So may the Most High bless you all. We say peace.
Peace,
and guess what, y'all? We out.
Real